Ladies and gentlemen, the show starts in just a few minutes. It is a typical standard operating Whiskey Wednesday. Get your damn cocktails, folks, because we're going to be talking about the most powerful idea ever. Not what you think it is. Guarantee it. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Not too bad. But get your cocktails ready. I'm putting the final touches on the studio. And we will start the deck countdown timer in just a couple minutes. Enjoy. I think there's a low back voice. Stay tight. We're coming. That's what she said. Subliminal messages by Old Humble Distilling. Subliminal messages. Subliminal messages. The countdown begins in 3, 2, 1.
A little ordinary? Is it lacking something awesome? Well, head out to your local liquor store and pick up something extraordinary. Grab a bottle of Old Humble Straight Whiskey or Old Humble Special Reserve. They're clean, smooth, easy drinking whiskeys that taste the way whiskey should taste. From humble beginnings to an extraordinary finish, Old Humble whiskeys are what your bar needs today. Walk tall, be awesome, and drink humble. Old Humble Straight Whiskey and Old Humble Special Reserve. Get yours today.
Get yours today, indeed. And in just a few short weeks, it's going to be even easier for you to get yours today. Well, buy yours today and have it delivered to your door. We've got some news about that that's going to be broken very, very soon. But be on the edge of your seats. Be excited for it because it's coming. I am the Old Humble guy, and this is the Old Humble Distilling Company's Happy Hour, Wednesday night whiskey happy hour. We're going to have our opening shot. What am I going to have with my opening shot? Did I move my shot? Oh, dang it. You know what happened? I had somebody over the other day. We had a visitor. And I poured a drink. For my visitor. Because my visitor liked absinthe. But despite the fact that my visitor likes absinthe, she was a good person. But that means that my shot glass is gone. So I have to use my coffee mug for my opening shot. For our opening shot, I am drinking the Blackout Boomtown Bourbon that we are releasing at the end on May 20th. You're releasing a whiskey on May 20th? Hold on, yes, I am releasing a whiskey on May 20th. Can we get a picture of that event? What does that event look like, Old Humble guy? Well, I'll be happy to show you. Calm down. Calm your ass down. Relax. Where's the pic? There it is. Just calm down. Here it is. Boom. Our whiskey mini fest right there at the Old Humble Distilling Company. Cheers. It says probably whiskey. It is, in fact, probably whiskey in my coffee mug. Cheers. Opening shot to the best. That was a tall shot. Jesus Christ, that was more whiskey than I was expecting. Because, when I pour it in a shot glass, it's a proper shot. When I pour it in a mug, it's a little heavy. So I'm already out of the gates a little bit strong. So we're going to pour a cocktail, which is, again, our Blackout Bourbon, limited edition label. It's black and gold. There's only going to be about 150 or so, 120 to 150 bottles. It will be available exclusively at the distillery. It is free to come to the Mini Fest, but if you want to hang out and listen to the music, we've got Ryan Adam Wells, we've got Gail Ryder, we've got Same Old Circles playing at the distillery. between 5 and 9 on the 20th. I'm going to open our doors a little bit early, around 3 o'clock. So you're welcome to come out. If you're within earshot of this and you're within driving distance of Humble, Texas, which is just north of Houston, you're welcome to come out and join it. It's free to show up. You can hang out and have some cocktails, which cost money. Buy a couple of bottles, which cost money. But if you want to stay for the music costs at least $10. You want to hang out and have some food, it costs a little bit more. If you want to get some tchotchkes and things like that to take home with you, of course, it costs a little bit more. But yeah, to just come and hang out before the music starts, totally free. Open doors. Come on out and see us. The link is in. The link to the event is in chat, or it will be in chat momentarily. Whoops. I need to pull it up. That's the one thing I forgot to do. One thing among many that I forgot to do. Let me pull the link to the event up, and I will plop it down in chat. So if you do want to come, if you are within earshot and you do want to come to this, come on out and check it out. Because it's going to be a fun party. It's going to be a truly fun party. Where the hell is my video? My own video doesn't pop up on my home screen. Am I not live right now? I should be live, right? I mean, y'all can hear me out there, right? We won't be streaming the event. I did not put into the performers' contracts that they will be playing original music. So I am not streaming the event. You are, however, of course, always welcome. If you're within earshot, within driving distance, you're always absolutely 100% welcome to come out and join us. Come on. Paste. There it is. And now to pin that in chat, pin that comment right there. Nope. Pin it. Nope. What's that little heart thing doing? What's that thing? Heart emo. Oh, that's a little heart. Wow, you can heart it. That's adorable. Pin message. Okay, so that's pinned in chat. Y'all can all, if you're within earshot, if you're within driving distance, you are absolutely 100% welcome to come out and join us. If you have driven in from points abroad, such as San Antonio or Austin, and you let me know, I might be willing to let you hang out for free. Depends on how much liquor you buy, though. But that's the big event right now. That's the big announcement right now. We've got our mini whiskey fest, our whiskey mini fest, coming up on the 20th of May. 3 performers. Three performers. We have Jeff with a G. I will likely rope him into doing a live stream with me. I will be streaming before the show, and if my performers show up early, I'll get them in on the stream, and we'll do a little chit chat with those guys before the show. But I haven't put into the I did not put into the contract guarantee that they would just play original music. Gail doesn't have an hour and a half worth of original music to play. She's a great performer. I've seen her videos. I'm going to start putting showcases of these people into our social media feeds so you can get an idea of what you're coming to see and what you're coming to hear and who these folks are to sell some more tickets and get some folks into the show. It's going to be a fun time. It really is going to be a fun time. We're going to have food. We're going to have cigars. We're going to have whiskey. We're going to have music. We're going to have magic. It's going to be just an amazing night, an absolutely amazing night. A night of magic and grace for the whole time. So there's that. And of course, our other big announcement that we have, I'm working on a project. It's basically the month of May. I'm working on this project to make it possible for you to buy whiskey from our website and have it delivered to your house. Of course, it's not really that big of an issue in Texas because we're available in all the major metros. There are some offerings that isn't available in all locations at the same time. So, if you are in Amarillo or Lubbock or Abilene or Dallas or Fort Worth or Corpus Christi, Corpus Christi has 3 of our whiskeys, but not all 4 of our whiskeys. You want to get the bourbon, you may have to order it and have it shipped to your door. And we will have that available on our website starting in June. But more details on that to follow. I'm working on that right now. We've already launched the project, signed off on all the dotted line stuff. I'm also working on 3 other projects at the distillery. Well, one major project right now. is building out the bathroom. You're going to see that live starting this weekend, is my hunch. So you'll be able to see the build out as we continue to grow and build into our space and flesh out the process and the idea of our distillery. Um, I want to reiterate for those of you who don't know, those of you who are just meeting me for the first time, and there's several of you out there, even if you're not right now on the stream, there's several of you out there, as you can see from our uh, uh, counter up here. It is currently sitting at, what is that, 2010 is what it says. Yeah, right now we're currently sitting at 2010, which actually means, though, you don't know what it is over here in the ones column. The ones column is actually a 9. We're at 2019 right now. We were as high as 2020 yesterday. I expect we'll be at 2020 before the end of the night. Fingers crossed. Hopefully. Ting Ting's in the house. Cheers, Ting Ting. But I'm also going to have a couple of restream live streams. I want to do a forum show. I've been talking to my son about borrowing his computer from him so that I can make sure that it's the hardware configuration that I can use for his computer. His computer has the hardware configuration I can use, and then I need to raise up another like $200 or $250 in order to buy a computer that can do full-on live stream forum shows like what I've tried to do in the past, but with the actual technology to make it happen. So that's another project I'm working on: the computer project, the bathroom project, building out the tasting room, building out the walls, and then thirdly and finally, the next big project that we have. I've repaired a piece of equipment that has been languishing for a few months, which will allow me to make vodka, gin, and brandy. Brandy. Oh, Brandy. You're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. But my life, my love, and my lady is the sea. Jesus Christ, I am the lamest of the lames. God damn it. Anyway, so those are 3 major projects we're working on. Yes, there will be an Old Humble Distilling Company Pipe Yard Vodka coming out hopefully by the end of the year. There might be an Old Humble Distilling Company Ghost Road Absinthe coming out by the end of the year. That would be something, especially since I shit on absinthe all the time. I mean, this is an inferior drink. This is 95 proof, 96 proof. It's a product of France, 92 proof. It is a proper, authentic absinthe. It's not the high proof stuff that you light on fire when you drizzle it over a piece of sugar. But it is an absolute inferior product. It is disgusting. However, my daddy always taught me that if you are just going to complain about something, you should probably keep your mouth shut. But if you're going to do something to make it better, well, get to work. Point out the flaws and then solve the problem. Now, the flaws in absinthe may simply be that I don't like the flavor of absinthe that I've tried in the past. And there may be a way to improve it and make it better. Like maybe make it, maybe that heavy licorice flavor is what I don't like. Maybe I need to, spice it up a little bit. Give it a little pepper. Not spicy pepper, but like pepper. Like, that's better. I was wondering why the light looked weird. Give it a little pepper. Give it a little zip, a little zing, a little pop, a little pizzow. Maybe I can make absinthe taste like something that isn't pushed through a butthole. Maybe I can make absinthe taste good and not horrible. So we'll see. I mean, it may be a project that I'll be working on for years, 3, 4, 5, 6 years in the making. Maybe it'll be something that, first, second try, it just works. We shall find out. There we go. Fix that camera. All right, so those are the major projects that we're working on. We got a gin, vodka, absinthe. We've got, of course, our whiskeys, our mainline products, our whiskeys that we've got. Several barrels of bourbon are going to be filled this week, this next week, in the next 7 days. And we have several barrels of bourbon that will be emptied in the next 7 days as well. So we got a whole bunch of stuff going on, which is super duper exciting, and I'm glad. I'm happy to be along for the ride. But tonight's show, that's enough of the housekeeping. We're 15 minutes in. It's time to get on with the show. And the topic for tonight, and I'm going to start. I'm going to comment on the last chat that I see, and it's actually Mr. Great Shot and Ting Tings, but I'm going to freeze it there, where Mr. Great Shot says absinthe is an odd liquor for sure. And to be fair, I've got to figure out if I want to do the low proof absinthe or high proof absinthe. You know, if I want to go high in the 160s or low in the 80s and 90s. I haven't decided yet. I'm still in the very early stages of figuring this out. And it actually means I'm going to have to do a lot of fucking market research with absinthe, and I don't sit there around a table with 5 different absinthe drinking just garbage all night long. Ugh. Ugh. Anyway, topic of the night. One of my favorite topics. I talk about this all the time. And it's tangentially related to other things. But the most powerful idea in the world. It's actually based on a book that I've read several times. William Rosen wrote the book. There's his name, William Rosen. The name of the book, The Most Powerful Idea in the World, William Rosen. It's not a thick book. It's a nice, easy read. This is this particular version of the book is 350 pages or so. It has an index. It has bibliography and footnotes. 327 pages. 327 pages is the full length of the book. It's an easy read. It is an easy read. It is fascinating. It's a page turner. It is an absolute joy to read this book. If you haven't gotten it, you should go get it. It's available on Amazon. It's available on Kindle. It's available in actual physical bookstores where normal people used to buy books and they would have them and hold them and you could read them whether you had electricity or not. It is a fantastic book. But the most powerful idea in the world. There have been thousands of ideas over the course of human history. There was this dude one day who was like, what if we just made our own fire? There was a dude one day that said, hey, what if we had the wheel go around the stick instead of have the wheel attached to the stick? And the wheel and axle was born. That gave us the ability to have pulleys, and that literally turned a lever or a wheel, a circle, into a lever, and then you could lift things up vertically without having to lever them up into the air, which was a great idea, a fantastic idea, but not the most powerful idea ever. Not the most powerful idea ever. The light bulb is a great idea. It's literally the picture that we have in our mind of what an idea is. When you have an idea, the light bulb goes off. We say that, but the light bulb is not the most powerful idea ever. The light bulb allowed us to have light at night cheaply. Extend our working hours, extend our daylight hours, extend our waking hours. Because it used to be when it got dark, you went to bed. It got dark, you had nothing else to do. You go to bed. Because candles were expensive, fire was expensive, it required fuel, and it sooted up the whole cave, the whole hovel, the whole whatever. So when it got dark, you went to bed. That was it. You had nothing to do. You couldn't see anything, you couldn't do anything, you went to bed. And in the wintertime, when the nights were long, you wouldn't stay up very long, or you'd sleep longer, work less. You'd go outside and work. You'd work better when the moon was out, work less when the moon was gone. The light bulb changed all that. Not the most powerful idea ever. The light bulb did not transform our society. It transformed our society, but not the way the most powerful idea in the world, the most powerful idea in human history transformed society. And in the book, William Rosen connects the most powerful idea in the world to the steam engine. And it's a misdirect, though. It's a misdirect because the steam engine arguably is the most significant invention, the most significant series of inventions that affected mankind and affected how civilization and society works. I mean, prior to development of the steam engine, we basically produced enough food to sustain our population. We'd make more people, and more people would be able to produce more food to provide for the people. And then, the old people would die off, the young people would replace them. You'd have 3 or 4 or 6 or 8 people replace the 2 or 3 people who die. And we would be able to produce enough food to cover the population. Just cover enough of the population. And there was never really a huge surplus of food. There was never really a huge surplus to provide for the population prior to development of the series of inventions that is the steam engine as we know it. But after the steam engine, we were able to produce more than enough food for the people that we had on hand, which meant that fewer people had to produce food so that more of those people could go and produce other stuff. And it led to an explosion of goods and services. Cities ballooned in size. They just whoosh. We had more food, so we could have more people. And if you look at the graph of population as it goes, where the Industrial Revolution starts, where the development of the steam engine begins, the population goes like this, and then it shoots up. The development, and I don't want to say the invention of the steam engine, because the steam engine was a series of inventions that all come together. The original steam engine was this creation, but then there was an innovation that was added to the steam engine, and it was incremental adjustment and development and growth on the model, on the idea of a steam engine, to the point now where we have steam engines that are powered by nuclear reactors. So it wasn't a singular invention. There was a series of developments. So I'm choosing my words wisely and very cautiously and carefully when I say the development of the steam engine, not the invention of the steam engine, because there was an initial invention, but even that invention was a development that grew from something that was sorely, grossly inefficient. But that innovation, that development, completely transformed our society. And most of this book is about the development and innovation of the steam engine. But even that is not the most powerful idea in the world. Despite the fact that the development of the steam engine started off as basically this tool it wasn't even a tool. It was a toy. It was a toy. The use of steam in human history goes all the way back to ancient Egypt, when they would use steam. The priests would use steam as a tool to open doors. Hero's engine was a party trick, a party favor, where they'd have a bowl or 2 bowls smushed on top of each other, and valves that go out in opposite directions, and they'd pump it full of steam, and then it would, or they'd have water in it and heat it up. As they heat it up, it would spin and blow steam. And it was a party favor. It was cute. It was adorable. It was neat. It was fun. It would wow the audience. Like, all you had to do was put fire on this ball, and it would spin. Magic. And then there were others where there was the 2 bowls that would be filled with steam and attached to each other, and then as the steam cooled, the bowls would stick to each other, and they'd have them attached to cables and wires, put teams of horses and try and pull them apart. Yeah, all party favors. Party favors was a cool idea. They didn't know how to harness it. But then in like the 1500s and 1600s, they started studying the steam and what steam meant, and understanding the volumes that steam took up. and they developed these tools and they developed these pistons and how the pistons would work. If you pumped them full of steam, the piston would shoot out. But then this one dude figured out, Thomas Watt, figured out that if you could condense the steam, you could not only just push it out with the steam, but you could also pull it back using the vacuum. So steam engines don't just work on steam, they also work on the lack of steam and the vacuum. And it was that innovation that he was able to utilize to develop the first steam engines that were used to pump water out of mine shafts so that they could mine coal, so that they could run steam engines, so that they could pump water out of mine shafts, so that they could mine coal, so that they could run steam engines. They were barely profitable, barely, because basically they were used to make mines more, extend the life of mines. That was the original purpose of a steam engine. The original purpose was to pump water out of a mine shaft so that they could mine more coal, and most of that coal would go back to the steam engine, and some of that coal would go get sold. Barely profitable, barely. But it was cheaper than digging a new shaft. And then another innovation, another innovation. They got more efficient, use less coal, and they were able to become more and more efficient. More efficient to the point where they could put them on wheels, put them on tracks, and send them from the coal mines to the town. Well, now you've got steam engines that can do stuff. They're mobile steam engines. And if you get mobile steam engines, then you can put these steam engines on platforms, and you can plow fields, and you can make more food than one man could ever make in the history of mankind. Completely transforms our society. Totally and completely transforms our society. And then they can put these steam engines on boats and cross the water. They can put steam engines on platforms and turn them into cars. They can put steam engines on everything. Put them in factories, and now factories don't have to be by water, because it used to be the factories had to be by water to run the water wheel, to run the crankshaft, to run the machines so that you could produce things. That's why cities always grew up along rivers. But now, with the steam engine, you don't even need a river. You can put a city in the middle of the damn desert. Steam engines were insane. That's why, in all of human history, if you look at one single development, one single machine, one single thing that in all of humanity that humans did, it's the steam engine. The steam engine completely transformed society, completely transformed. We would not have electricity if it weren't for steam engines. We would not have electricity if it weren't for steam engines. Yeah. Windmills and all that stuff. But the technology that turns windmills into electricity happened because we knew about steam energy. We knew about steam engines. But even that wasn't the most powerful idea in the world. The most powerful idea in the world was the thing that allowed Thomas Watt to make money off of his steam engine. The reason we don't know who invented the wheel, the reason we don't know who invented invented fire, the reason we don't know who invented pistons, the reason we don't know who invented all these other things that happened outside of England was because in England they had the most powerful idea ever. Ever. They didn't have it in France. They didn't have it in Germany. They didn't have it in Hungary. They didn't have it in Spain. They didn't have it in Italy. They didn't have it anywhere. The most powerful idea ever was born because some dude, I don't remember his name, but some dude made playing cards. He made playing cards. And he petitioned the king. And he said, "Your Grace, I would like to have a monopoly on playing cards." And the king said, "You have, for the next, I don't know how many years it was, 15 years, 20 years, you have a monopoly. I will give you a patent on your playing cards, and you are the only person allowed to produce playing cards in the realm." And thus, patent law was born. The patent. The idea that you can own an idea. The idea that you can own a blueprint, that you can own the concept of a thing that you're wanting to build. You can own that. I own my brand. I own my recipe. I own my blueprints. The idea that you can own an idea is the most powerful idea ever. The most powerful innovation that mankind has ever come up with was the idea that you can own an idea. The notion that you could own an idea meant that Thomas Watt could sell his idea to somebody who could help commercialize his idea, help him develop it, give him whatever $100 per machine that he sold, or $1 per machine he sold, whatever percentage it was. He could get royalties for every machine they sold, and they only sold like 10. But for every machine they sold, he would get a royalty. Royalty, patent office, patent law, the king, the patent, the most powerful idea. The fact that you can own your idea and you can sell your idea and you can trade your idea. You can go to somebody, you can take your idea and be all like, I know how to build shit, you know how to sell shit. Would you like the rights to sell the shit that I come up with? And they'll be all like, yeah, sure. And I'll give you a percentage. Earth-shattering. Earth-shattering. Because that meant that these people could continue to work on their valves, they continue to work on their levers, they continue to work on their pistons, they continue to work on their condensing units, they continue to work on their machines and still make money off this idea, and then some chucklehead wouldn't go and fucking steal their idea and make money off that and just cut them out of the whole thing. They could continue to make money on it while they figured out how to do it. Huge, huge innovation in the history of mankind, and it took us about 8,000 years to figure this shit out. You know, if civilized history started about 6,000 BC, 6,500 BC, and patent law was started, I think, around 1400 AD, 1200, 1400 AD. So that's about 7,700 years, something like that. It's a long damn time. It took mankind that long to figure out how to own an idea. That's the most powerful idea in the world. Mind-blowing, earth-shattering. Blows my mind to this day. That's why this book is such a page-turner. I can just sit there and I'm just devouring every word. It's so much fun. But you can own an idea. That's how you can own code. That's why intellectual property, when you write words down and you have a story, you can own that story and you can sell that story to a production studio who can then turn that story into a picture, into a show or a book or a podcast or whatever. But you wrote it down. It's your idea. You can own that idea. If you own that idea, you can sell that idea. But if you don't own it, you can't sell it. And then steal it. But they can't. It's not stealing because you don't own it. Yeah. Well, if you're so good at that, why don't you fucking do it? Oh, you can't commercialize it. You can't turn it into a thing. We'll do it. You should have known how to do it. Sony can turn any damn story. We just heard this story at a coffee shop one day. There's a movie. What is it? 30 minutes. 30-minute delivery, something like that. Where the story is that these idiots kidnap a pizza guy, put a bomb around his neck, and make him rob a bank. And haha, it's a funny story. Ha ha ha. Like that would never happen in real life. It has Jesse Eisenberg in it, and that dude from Trailer Park Boys. Can't remember his name. But yeah, it's haha, funny story. It actually happened in real life. It was a story that they ripped off, and they were like, "Oh, we didn't see that in the news." Bullshit, you didn't see that in the news. You wouldn't come up with that story if you didn't see it in the news. Those stories don't come up parallel by themselves. Fuck you. Anyway, that's the most powerful idea in the world. Great story, great book. Get the book. Get the book. Most powerful idea in the world. Oh, it's upside down. Most powerful idea in the world. Get the book. It's written by this dude, William Rosen. Fantastic book. Absolutely fantastic book. And I don't normally keep my desk covers. That's why my books all look like that. I'm sure I have it somewhere in my office. Uh, I don't know where I would find it, but it's somewhere in my office. If you knew what my office looked like behind the scenes, you would understand why I'm never going to find that book. But it's a great story, great book, great everything. Absolutely love it. But now we're at the end of my portion of the show, and now I hand the show over to you fine folks in chat. This is the part of the show that I always get most nervous about because I don't know what the fuck you people are going to come up with. To be completely honest. Y'all make me nervous all the time. But it is now time to kick it over to chat. I'm looking over here at my analytics on my left. But here we go. Main cam with chat. Boom, there's our chat. Let me bring up my chat window and catch us up to where we are. We have Mr. Great Shot being the last comment that I read. There we go. And I'm going to come over here to my analytics window and move that over. That's what I want to see right there. All right. So, back over here to chat. Mr. Great Shot was the last one I saw. Yes, absinthe is a curious liquor. All right, where are we? We'll be streaming the. I do want to readdress this. I might stream part of the event. I may stream part of this event on May 20th. There may be a streaming event associated with the event on May 19th. I'm not sure. I will keep y'all posted. Hit the notification bell. Do all those things. That way you won't be left out. So onward and stuff. So yeah, absinthe is an odd liquor for sure. But okay. So and back to the absinthe talk. I think that there's things I can do with it. I think what I don't like about absinthe is the sugary, syrupy flavor to it. But I think if there was a little bit of if there was just a little bit of spice, a little bit of salt, a little bit of spice, a little bit of tang that went with it. I think that would improve the flavor significantly. Less syrupy, less licoricey, and a little bit more something else. So there we go. 120. I don't know what that means. Mr. Great Shot, good to see you, and good to see you too, Miss Ting Ting, Mr. Great Shot, Mr. Jigs, all you fine folks. It is good to see you all. JLM, howdy to you, JLM. And I'm gonna refill my drink. And that's gonna be the last one I'm gonna have tonight because I got to get up early in the morning. I got work in the morning. I got real fucking work I got to do in the morning. It has been a very busy couple of weeks to several weeks. Very, very busy. Very, very busy time. I've got another series of tastings I'm going to go be doing. So y'all got me till probably midnight when I turn into a pumpkin and I'm out the door. Absinthe uses licorice, and you can't stand like. See, I don't have a problem with licorice. I think it's the sweet syrupy flavor. I think it's the sweet syrupiness of the licorice that kind of gets to me. There we go. I think if I drop my chair down a little bit, I'm not going to hit my desk as much. Okay, that should be good. But yeah, I think that's what it is. It's the syrupy, the sweetness, the syrupiness. I don't like that. I don't like it. There's just something about it. Where's that cup? There's something about it that just, I can make a Sazerac. I've got sugar. Yeah, I'm gonna make I don't want to waste a drink though. God damn, if I got one more drink, I don't want to waste it on the absinthe. All right, well I'm gonna take a quick sip, just a sip, not much. I want to take a quick sip and remind myself what it is I hate about absinthe. I got to remind myself every once in a while what it is that I dislike about this drink. And we'll probably do another show on absinthe, the history of, the lore behind, the story about, probably real close to when we kick off the absinthe event. It's fucking garbage. I don't even like the way it smells. Okay, there's a thickness to it. Yeah, it's that syrupy sweet. It's that syrupy sweet thickness. That's water. It's that syrupy sweet thickness to the flavor. Like the flavor's not bad. It's the mouthfeel, the texture, that syrupy sweetness. I no, I just don't like it. But there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to. Hmm, there's got to be a way to solve that problem. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to make it palatable. And maybe it's just not something that I like. Maybe it's maybe what it is that I make an absinthe that I recognize as a quality drink, just not something that I like. You know, like this is, and I can be proud of that. I can be proud of something where I say, this is something that checks all the boxes of what would be considered a quality alcoholic beverage, right? Like, I don't have to like the root beer, but I can make a root beer that is a good root beer, a good quality root beer. Uh, it has the sassafras root, it has the sweetness, it has the right consistency, it has the right, maybe a little bit of pepper to it, and boom, you have a nice quality root beer all by itself. But it doesn't have to be a root beer that I like. Like a bunch of rye whiskeys. There's a bunch of rye whiskeys that I don't like, but I recognize that they're a quality rye whiskey, even if it's not uh, like it checks all the boxes. It's really good. Y'all did a good job. It's just not something that I like. That's entirely possible. I could do something. Maybe that's what I ended up doing with the absinthe. We'll see. With our Ghost Road absinthe, we'll see. Fire is the greatest. Now, yeah, you see, no, yeah, see, no. It's not, because if it was, if fire was the greatest accomplishment by man, we'd figure out a way to make money off of it. Speaking of fire, there's no such thing as Joan of Arc charcoal briquettes, or uh, 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 Joan of Arc lighter fluid, or Joan of Arc lighters. Saint Joan of Arc lighter. Yeah, it doesn't exist. I mean, if anybody would be a spokesperson for charcoal briquettes, it should be Joan of Arc. Um, I'll let y'all discuss that amongst yourselves. Um, so where are we at? Chat. We're about 20 minutes behind in chat. I'm looking for a topic to go off on a good rant so I can record another rant for uh, the channel. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Cheers, everyone. Cheers. Everybody's saying cheers. Cheers. I love everybody. Y'all are so great to each other. I'm 1,000% sober tonight. Holy shit. Why? Meloxicam. Hoping Bob has last call, though. Who is Cheech? Oh, Cheech is in the house. Cheers, Cheech. Welcome, Whiskey Wars. Did I get that right? Did I get the channel right? My bad if I didn't. But welcome to the party, Cheech. Good to see you, man. Like 3 beers so far. um, there's a job fair I'm going to tomorrow, so I'm trying to be in good shape tomorrow. Oh, that's really sweet. That's a good thing. Good deal. I'm a big fan of drinking responsibly. Big fan of drinking responsibly. Ever see the Stirling engine? I absolutely saw it. I tried to build one once. I was going to build a Stirling engine just out of fun. But then I lost interest and didn't do it again. But those things are so cool. You just put them on top of how you can put them on top of a light bulb. I've seen them in those off-grid cabins where they put the Stirling engine on their stove, and the stove runs the Stirling engine, and they spin, and it kind of circulates the air through their little cabin. Very cool. Very cool concept. Very cool. I mean, the reason they never caught on is basically because they still need to have an exterior power source, and uh, where Stirling engines use just basically hot air, cold air, differential in air pressure and air temperature. Steam engines use a much more efficient fuel. I mean, granted, you have to run a steam engine with like wood or coal or charcoal or uh, 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 electricity boiling water or nuclear power boiling water. It's way more efficient because water holds a lot of energy. Water is it's um, a tremendous reservoir for energy. It can hold a lot of energy. Between 0 degrees and 100 degrees, the amount of heat, the amount of energy you can put in water and hold is a huge amount. And then once it does make the tipping point and switches over from water to steam, the steam carries even more heat. The steam can get super hot. The steam can get super duper hot, and it swells up, and it takes up about, I think, 16 times as much volume as, that's not right. It's more than 16. But it takes up more volume than water, which means it can do work that water can't do. You heat up water and it does what it does. You put water under pressure over here and it goes up here, water under pressure. But when you heat up the water, it turns into steam. Now you have a fraction of the water turns into a huge volume of steam, and you can put that steam under pressure, and you can hold. You can put steam under pressure. You can't put water under pressure. You can put steam under pressure and then make the steam do work. You can meter it out and push it through hydraulic lines. You can push it through. You can push it through entire cities for heating. Steam is a tremendous innovation in civilizing society. Once we learned how to harness steam and do stuff with steam, it is way more effective than just hot air or anything else that we were using at the time. And granted, we've developed more fuels that are more efficient, but to this day, we use steam as heating as a heating element for space. We use steam as a heating element for buildings, sky rises in New York, Chicago, Wisconsin, any cold weather place uses steam as, we run steam through radiators, we run steam through walls, we run steam through central heating ducts and central processing ducts. We have big rooms down at the bottom of buildings for boilers, and those boilers push steam all the way up through the building and all the way back down, and all that steam does is heat up rooms. I mean, hell, my grandmother had a steam powered radiator in her bathroom in Louisiana, of all places. She probably ran that thing 8 times a year. But she had a steam space heater. It wasn't an electric space heater. It didn't just radiate heat, it radiated steam heat. And that's why steam radiators are more efficient than just plain old electric radiators, because steam radiators, they're cheaper to run, they hold more heat, and they maintain a high temperature for a longer period of time, because water and steam is a huge reservoir when it comes to holding energy, versus just the metal. When you heat up the metal using a radiator and pump it full of electricity and it heats up, it radiates electricity, it radiates the heat. But once you turn that heat off and the heat dissipates, it gets cold. It gets cold much faster than water gets cold. True story. I don't make this shit up. It's all fact. You don't have to believe me though. It's fine. But that's why Stirling engines never caught on, because Stirling engines just weren't as efficient as steam engines, and they certainly weren't as efficient as internal combustion engines. Internal combustion engines were way more efficient than steam engines, because instead of having to heat water and run water through your engine to make the engine run, you could just use explosions inside the engine. But it took several developments beyond the steam engine to get to internal combustion. Without the steam engine, we wouldn't have been able to develop a internal combustion engine. We wouldn't have been able to make that next step into internal combustion, because that's how powerful steam engines were. Because we didn't have the tolerances. We didn't have the tolerances on the machines at the time to be able to develop the full. In fact, it required the early steam engine to develop the tools that had the tolerances to help us develop later steam engines, because the early inventors who were working on the steam engines were watchmakers and craftsmen who did watches and valves and things like that, and they were able to do the little mechanisms inside the watches And that's what allowed them to make the little bitty pieces that made the steam engines work. And it wasn't until after the first steam engines were made that we're able to have that we were then able to have the drills that were able to bore into solid metal to make the pistons with the tolerances that allowed the later steam engines to be more efficient and more effective, because they just simply didn't have the tolerances on machines that were run by water wheels on the side of rivers. They just didn't have the tolerances to be able to have the fittings and the seals that you needed for a steam engine to be as effective and efficient as it was. And because of that, we couldn't have had late stage steam engines without early stage steam engines, and we certainly couldn't have had combustion engines without the original innovation of steam engines. Steam engines were a huge innovation, but the thing that allowed steam engines to happen was the idea of the patent. That you were able to own an idea. If a thing popped into your head, you owned it. That was yours. You owned it before anybody else because you had that idea first. That was the thing that allowed the steam engine to happen. It's fucking amazing. The greatest innovation in the history of mankind. And we've had great innovations, like Ting Ting said. Fire, the ability to control and harness fire, huge innovation. Huge innovation. Allowed us to eat protein that let our brains develop. For the first time in the history of mankind, we were able to think more efficiently than anybody else because we were able to grow a brain that was more efficient than anybody else's. But that's not what transformed our society as effectively and as efficiently. That just made us better thinkers. That gave us the ability to eventually figure out the patent. And that wasn't a universal idea. That didn't pop up in 5 different places at the same time, like agriculture or things like that. Anyway, I love that book. That's a great book. I'm good. I've read through. You can see I have a bookmark in here. I've read through about a third of it in the last couple of months. I need to sit down and read the rest of it. Figure out what to do with the rest of my life. Ooh, JLM, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? I am curious. You want to figure out what to do with the rest of your life. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with the rest of my life, and I run a goddamn distillery and have a YouTube channel. I'm curious to know. Because I think it's good for everyone to know that no matter what age you are, no matter how old you are, you don't have your shit figured out. Boomtown Blackout Bourbon. Made with water harvested after the freeze of 2021. Am I the only person that can't just go with 21 yet? Like the freeze of 21? I'm still not comfortable with that. Like we're in the 21st century and I still say 20 before my years. Like 2003, 2004, 2022, 2023, 2024. It's still the 80s, still the 90s, still the 70s. I don't have to say 19, but I definitely say 2000. Anyway, am I the only one who does that? That's a thing, apparently. I don't know if it's a thing for everybody. It's definitely a thing for me. They make fans that turn fans for wood stuff. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, I was just saying that. Yeah. We're on the same wavelength, dude. I love that. Different rates of heat cause rotation. Yep. Matt Walsh is what? Matt Walsh is wrong on video games. Matt Walsh is wrong about a lot of things. I see his Twitter shit come through my feed every once in a while. He's wrong about a lot of things. No one can tell you what to do. Just figure out what you love to do in life. Yep. Patching what? Patching kittens since I was a young girl. Now as an adult, I patch up humans. All right. Oh yeah. Okay, I get you. Yeah, that's right. That's what you do for a living. Was it needed? Go trade exchange of ideas. Inventions worldwide was about then. I thought about becoming a vet on the medical knowledge. Well, that was not what I was expecting it to be. I know, right? I wasn't expecting that either. Like, literally, the twist in this book is that they're talking about the steam engine, the development of the steam engine. And it says so in the foreword. Up here in the front, it says, the most powerful idea in the world, a story of steam, industry, and invention. That's the subtext of the book. The subtext of the title right there. A story of steam, industry, and invention. And the thesis of the book, the thesis of this is, like, the first chapter is about the rocket. The rocket, which was the rocket was 10,000 years, 100 lineages, and 2 revolutions. The rocket was the first steam-powered locomotive. But this book, the whole thesis of this book is the patent made it happen. And it is a fascinating story. It's a fascinating story about the development of the steam engine. An absolutely fascinating story about the development of the steam engine, without question. And the first time I read that book, we were down, I finished it, and we went down to Galveston to the Railroad Museum. And the Railroad Museum has old-style steam engines. It's a big giant rail yard in Galveston. They have a collection of rail cars, steam engines, diesel engines, locomotives, all of all stretches and strides. A beautiful, beautiful place. Big giant old 19th century train station. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Almost knocked over a whole fucking bottle and made a mess here. But it's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. And when I first read this book, I had gone to we were on vacation. I had just finished it. We went on vacation, and I stopped. We went to the Railroad Museum down there in Galveston, and they have this big, beautiful steam engine. And I'm remembering from the book. I'm like, this is the condenser. This is the recondenser. This is where the fire channels go through the boiler to efficiently turn the water into steam. And this is where the steam goes under pressure. This is the valves. This is where everything. And I'm like picking out the little parts of it, and it is, oh, dude, the steam engine is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful series and collection of machines and inventions all piled on top of each other. But all of it was piled on top of each other and done together because of the patent. And without the patent, the development of the steam engine would have been much slower, much more dispersed, and much harder to commercialize. And it would have been harder and harder and harder to sell steam engines because there have been so many people trying to make steam engines. None of them would have been, well, some of them probably would have been good, but there wouldn't have been like a consistency of, there wouldn't have been a road of development on how the steam engine comes about. You follow what I'm saying? Like it would have been this diffuse, dispersed. Hold on. 1 second. Sorry. Hold that thought. I'll be right back. All right. I think what I heard out there was a cat fight. But anyway, had the steam, what I was saying is, had it not been for the patent, we wouldn't have had a roadmap of innovation and development to develop the steam engine. We'd have had this dispersed landscape of several different types of steam engines coming about. And in the early days of this, when you have a steam engine that's designed for a thing, there's a reason for it to exist, which was to pump water out of a mine shaft so that they could mine more coal, so that they could feed the steam engine, so they could do all these things. You'd have had hundreds of models or dozens of models or twos of models. And some of them would have been good, some of them would have been bad, but there wasn't a whole lot of capital to be spread around for the innovation of these things. So you'd have had a lot of failure, and that failure would have had ripple effects. And even with the one design and the one patent, you had a lot of failures, but it would have had ripple effects, and you'd have had businesses investing money in a failed technology, and that would have cost the business possibly its existence. So the development, the history of this could have gone an entirely different way. And there's the other road where you have all the ideas and the free market of ideas, and the ones that work best, the ones that work best are the ones that grow and flourish. But that's not how the free market of ideas always works, because we know good and damn well that the best idea is not always the idea that grows and flourishes. Sometimes it's the second best idea that has the better financing. Sometimes it's the less good option that is more persistent, better financing, and better connected that edges out the other ones, and then those other ones get bought, and their better technology gets wrapped into the bad technology, and then the bad technology becomes a little bit better, but it's still a wonky, shitty technology. Hello, Windows, Microsoft's platform. Like, we know how this shit works, right? But in the meantime, you've got mining companies that they invest their nut into a secondary substandard technology, and they fail. They go away, and now you have now you have an unreliable technology, and the industry looks at the technology as unreliable, and they don't see the promise, and then they never adopt it, and then what happens? Now we don't ever have steam engines. We don't ever have steam engines. We don't have industrial revolutions. We don't have industrial revolutions. We don't have an explosion in population. We don't have an explosion in population. We don't have a colonization of the Americas. We don't have a colonization of the Americas. We don't have us. I mean, we exist because the Industrial Revolution happened. Because there was enough people to put people over here in the Americas. Without the Industrial Revolution, we wouldn't have had us, or the Americas would have looked entirely different, at the very least. I mean, the world would look entirely different, because the Industrial Revolution happened in Europe first, and it spread everywhere else, because it started in Britain. It started in Britain and it spread to the rest of Europe, and it went everywhere else. Like, what would have happened without the patent on the steam engine to allow the development of the steam engine, to allow a small core group of people to develop and grow this idea? What would the world look like today? That'd be a weird little thought experiment to go down. I'm not an alternative history channel, so I can't do that. I don't think an alternative history. I look at alternative histories and go, that's nonsense. But that would be something curious. Like, what if the steam engine hadn't been patented? What if the steam engine had been dispersed and hadn't caught on the way it did? What if we never had an industrial revolution the way we had it? What if it was a technology that just didn't catch on for? I mean, who knows? I don't know. I don't know. We had a lovely conversation. Thought it might. Stock. No, stock market was a great idea. That is a great innovation. Stock market is a great idea, to be able to socialize risk among several people, spread risk among a group in order to raise more capital, because it allows more people to take less risk, which allows more risk to be taken. And that doesn't sound like it makes sense when you say it out loud, but it does, because one person doing $1 billion deal is not as big a deal as 1 billion people doing a $1 deal. Like, if you lose $1 and 1 billion other people lose $1, that's not that big of a deal. But if one person loses $1 billion, that's a lot of money, right? 20 people with $20 is not as much as one person with $400. One person with $400 is a lot of money for most people. So yeah, stock market is a huge idea. It's a huge idea. but it wouldn't have existed without the patent. Stock market doesn't exist without the patent. A stock market is a great idea, and it's the type of thing that somebody can own. Of course, it's also the type of thing that only exists. Like, you can't have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 stock markets. You can like have one. We have 3 in the United States, but we really have 1 or 2. They all 3 work differently, function differently. Cater to different companies and cater to different industries rather, and different size companies and different style businesses. But we have 3, but each country has their own. But really, there's one global stock market. But yeah, and the stock market really is a great idea. Markets in general are a great idea, because when everybody comes together and the information is being shared about prices for whatever it is, whether it's stocks or whether it's grains, like a grain market has a modern grain market is what has prevented famine in Ethiopia for the last 40 years. Like, ever since the 1980s. When I was a kid in the 1980s, Ethiopia was famine. Famine, Ethiopia, those two things went together hand in hand. And there was geopolitical shit going on in Ethiopia too. There was civil wars and strife and wars and blah, 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 blah. All about Ethiopia. But, ever since the 1990s, like, we haven't heard anything about that. And guess what happened in the 1990s? They established a national grain market where you didn't have to go to a physical marketplace in your local municipality or your local county or whatever it was to sell your grain. Your grain was on a national market. So the people in South Ethiopia, North Ethiopia, East, West, and Central Ethiopia all had the same set of prices. They all had the same set of prices. And that's how it is in the United States. If you're in Texas, if you're in Missouri, if you're in Chicago, if you're in Wyoming or North Carolina or South Carolina, corn is the same price. There is a national market for corn. You can't get fucked. You can get fucked, but you can't get fucked if you're selling at market price. You know what corn is selling for. So you go to the market, they say, yeah, the national price is this, but we're only offering that. You say, fuck them. I'm going to sell my shit on the national market. I'll contact, any one of the other markets that are paying market value. We'll put it on a truck and ship it out. Done. Done and done. Poof. Finished. Anyway. Jesus Christ. Yes, Ting Ting. Keep me on till 2 o'clock. Watch how fast I go through the questions. But that would be awesome. It's great for engagement. Speaking of which, 23 times 17.5 is 402 divided by 60. Almost 7 hours of watch time tonight. I'm going to shoot for 20 hours of watch time tonight. So we're going to see how long it'll go. To get 25 hours of watch time is the goal. Corey Lee is in the house. Cheers, Corey Lee Slater. Welcome to the Thunderdome. Cheers. Y'all catch him up. I assume y'all have already done so. Corey's in the house. My hunch is that Longshanks is in the house too. Are you around? I haven't seen your name pop up yet. Maybe he will make his voice heard. I see him lurking every once in a while. Don't eat the worm. Mezcal is another project that I'm thinking about doing something with. A bourbon barrel aged mezcal. That'd be something. I think that'd be something worth trying. I think. We'll see. I don't know. I have not decided yet. I do have a phone number for a guy, though. So we'll see. Something bourbon barrel aged mezcal. It'd be like an añejo or reposado. That's not what it is. Reposado. Controlled by man. Can't invent anything of value without control of that. Well, yeah. I mean, fire was an important thing. Like, being able to control fire was very important. But there's evidence to show that it wasn't man who originally controlled fire, that it was our ancestors, the predecessors of man, who originally learned how to control fire. The control of fire predates mankind. There's evidence of that. It's you know, and there's evidence that the control of fire, being able to make fire at will, and not just like hold it and keep it and protect it, but to be able to make it at will was something that came up multiple places around the world at the same time, or around the same time, independently. We were all working on that problem at the same time together. It wasn't something that started in a single place and grew like fire, but it was something that started in all civilizations simultaneously. But that said, before fire, we were a subsistence species. After fire, we were a subsistence species. We still weren't. Fire wasn't the thing. Fire didn't lead to directly. It indirectly led to all the other stuff. But we went 25,000 years with fire before anything else of major significance happened. You know what I mean? Like, fire was a major significant thing. But fire didn't, there wasn't a before fire, after fire moment. There wasn't a before wheel, after wheel moment. And there were civilizations that grew up without the wheel. The Mayans, like all of the American civilizations, didn't have the wheel and axle. They had wheels, but they didn't have the wheel and axle. Or at least it wasn't used as a tool. So, like, fire was an important innovation. It was an important invention, but it wasn't as significant and as important as fire was for human civilization. Like, fire allowed human beings to feel safe at night. Like, without fire at night, we were prey. But fire at night, like, we could set borders around our camps with fire pots and keep wild animals out. It would keep us safe at night. But again, before fire, subsistence. After fire, still subsistence. It allowed the development of the brain, because we were able to metabolize protein more efficiently, because cooking food is basically the first step to digesting food. But again, it was not a single moment, a single idea that set off. Like, without fire, we don't have steam engines, unless you use electricity to boil water, because you can use steam engines without fire. So fire does not necessarily lead directly to steam engines. Fire is important. Fire is a big damn deal, but not the single most powerful idea ever. And I'm sticking with that. The Stirling did so because of boiler explosions which killed people. Oh, I did not know that. And I'm guessing the guy who invented the Stirling engine was probably named like John Stirling or something like that. Sick. Tiki tacky. Really? Where are we at? Refrigerator. What? Runs a phase change. Refrigerator runs a phase. Oh yeah, refrigerators. Yeah, I've got an ice maker that makes ice without refrigerant, and I don't know how it does that, and I assume it has to do with phase change. Who's talking? You're talking to Nightbot? What? Twitter. Tiki Tacky. Gotcha. I should probably close my TikTok account. TikTok's useless. Check out Jesse and Alan's channel for some good information about absinthe. Okay. All right. I'm going to put that in another window. There it is. Okay. I'm going to check that out later. But I do have it in a that's Jesse, I guess, the first one, and then Alan would be this one. Did you just fuck up my entire channel? Okay, so I got two channels opening right there. Okay, I'll check it out. Thanks for the info. Jesse and Alan's channels for some information about absinthe. Okay. Last place I stayed with old school radiation, one guy was trying to roast everyone else, keeping it set 80 or 80. Jesus Christ, that's too hot for anything. Um, I no, I keep my AC at like 80 or 73, and if it's at 85, I'm just not. No, I mean, I'll camp at 85 degrees, but I don't want to be in a house at 85 degrees. That's dreadful. Ugh. Banging your knee on a steam radiator. I bet that sucks. I bet it does. Holy shit. I am currently 25 minutes behind in chat, but I'm catching up. And then the water receded, and that's when Humble went to high school. Oh, Lord, Corey, you crack me up. I'm going to think on that in a minute. Imagine being the poor bastard on the turnstile your entire life. The poor bastard on the turnstile your entire life. Yep. Legos on the bare feet. Alan Master Distiller for Spirits of French Lick. I know where French Lick is. That's where our boy Larry Bird came from. French Lick, Indiana. Right? Right. Yeah, he came from French Lick, Indiana. I need to shave. And do something about this beard. It's not unruly, but it's getting thick. It feels good. It's a good beard. I had a woman ask me if she could touch my beard at the Texas Houston, the HTX whiskey weekend. 53. I got you. Okay, good. Good. Okay, so you don't know what you want to be when you grow up. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. You're not that much older than I am. You're older than I am, but not that much older than I am. You're just a baby. It's proper disambiguation beer. It's got a maple leaf on it. Maple leaves not just for flags anymore. Make good patches for leather jackets. Very Benjamin Life is in the house. Cheers, Very Benjamin Life. Welcome to the party. It's good to see you. If you haven't done so yet, hit the notification bell, the like, the subscribe button, all the shit. I appreciate the support. Thanks for coming by and joining us. We have this kind of fun every weekend or every week on Wednesdays. Right in the middle of the week, Whiskey Wednesdays, Hump Day. We try and have a good time. Sometimes we do heavy topics, sometimes we do light topics. Tonight's a relatively light topic. But hey, welcome to the party. Good to see you. If you've been here before and I'm not recognizing the name, my apologies. I don't recognize the name. I think you're new, and I appreciate you coming. Thanks for being part of the party. So there we go. Few engines in the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn. I went to the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn. That is really super duper cool. There's also another auto museum in shit. The town where the University of Michigan is, across the way from Toledo. Shit, I can't remember what it was. Really cool museum. It'll come to me in like an hour and a half. I'll be like, oh yeah, that one. Very cool little town. I went to visit my sister up there back when she lived there. Not University of Michigan, East Michigan University. Shit. Where is East Michigan University? Where is East Michigan University? Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor, Michigan. That's where it's at. That was going to bother me for hours until I came up with it. In fact, I would probably have kept the show open until it came to me. And then it'd be like randomly around 4:30 in the morning, being like, Ann Arbor, yeah. Okay, yeah, Ann Arbor. That's where we went to. We went to Ann Arbor. We got engaged in Cincinnati. We flew into Columbus, went to visit her dad, went down to Cincinnati, got engaged, drove up to Toledo to meet with family friends, then went over to Ann Arbor to visit with my sister, and then went back down to Columbus and had dinner with her grandparents, and then hit the airport and headed out. Beautiful, fun, fantastic weekend. And Ohio is a beautiful state. Driving through Ohio is just a beautiful damn state. If you haven't been, you should go. We're going to go back up there in July this year for the First of the Moon Festival in late July. It's a fantastic festival. Wapakoneta, Ohio is where Neil Armstrong was born, and they have this big, huge street festival, and it is absolutely a ton of fun. Go hang out there, see the street festival, see the sights, see the stuff. They have, they have a Neil Armstrong museum there, which is a beautiful museum. It's small. It's not this big giant museum like the Met Gala or anything, or the Met or Houston Museum of Fine Arts or anything like that. But it's a nice, cute little museum. It has Neil Armstrong artifacts, moon landing artifacts, a replica of one of the Mercury missions and Apollo mission, and yeah, it is so totally cool. You should do it. It's one of those cool little small town adventures. Get in your car, drive to Ohio. On the way there, stop in at a couple of distilleries. Grab yourself a bottle of whiskey that nobody else has heard of. Go back on your YouTube channel and say, "Hey, I was in Cowlick, Missouri, and I found this cool little whiskey distillery, and it has this whiskey, and it's the best fucking whiskey." Road trips are the best, and I don't mean like fucking road warrior road trips where you go, I went 400,000 miles in like 6 days and I fucking did it. No, I mean the kind of road trips you go like 200 miles and it takes you 2 days to do it because you stopped and did shit all along the way. You stopped and smelled the roses. You experienced the local flavor between here and there. Those are the best road trips. It's not the destination, guys. It's always about the trip. It's always about the trip. Always. The people you meet, the things you do, the stuff you see, unless you're going to visit family, you're going to see a funeral, you're going to a wedding, you're going to an event, whatever, then it's about the event. Go to the event, fuck it. But, if there's not anything really there to do, if you're just, take the random left turn, go down that dirt road, go visit with the guy in the cabin who's wearing a human skin suit and carrying a chainsaw. What's the worst that could happen? That's what that's what living's all about. If you're not afraid for your life at least once, are you really alive? Are you really alive? Come on. You should be terrified, at least like truly terrified at least once in your life. Truly terrified. And I'm not talking like combat theater terrified. I'm talking like truly like I don't know what the fuck's about to happen terrified. And maybe combat theater's fair. I mean that's fair. You do that. That's part of living. Absolutely. But also also the kind of terrified where the guy next to you says, "Here, you take the controls. I'm going to the back to take a nap." And you're like, "I don't know how to fucking fly a plane. What are you doing?" Yeah, that's how it goes. Or, when the stewardess comes to you and says, "Hey, by the way, the pilot's dead and we need somebody to fly this thing. Can you do it?" And you're like, "I can fly it, but I don't know how the fuck I'm going to land it." But yeah, let's go. I did a Microsoft flight simulator one time. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see. What's the worst that could happen? Ask him out. Ask him out on a date. What's the worst that could happen? They could say no and hurt your feelings? Sure. But is that the worst that could happen? No. The worst that could happen is they say yes, and you go out on a date, and you end up going and you hit it off, and you do things, and then you get married, and then you find out you really don't have a whole lot in common with this person, and it's a toxic relationship, and you spend years of your life getting beat down by this individual who's just a horrible, horrible fucking person. And then eventually you find the strength to finally leave them, but it leaves you in this world of hurt and pain, and it takes years of denial and years of self-sacrifice and years of just of repeating the same pattern of toxic relationship after toxic relationship after toxic relationship until you realize something inside me is broken, and you finally go to therapy and you unpack all of this trauma with a therapist, and the therapist finally gets you to realize that it all was rooted with that person who you approached, and you thought the worst that could happen is they say no, but it turns out the worst that could happen is they say yes, and then 15 years later, you're finally comfortable with yourself again. After years of broken relationships and therapy and trauma, you're finally okay with yourself to finally have a healthy relationship. And then you realize that your best days are behind you. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? They say no, sweetheart. The worst that could happen is they say yes. So I guess the moral of the story is just don't talk to people. God, that's not how I expected that to go. No, what I mean to say is Rudy, little guy, makes good on Notre Dame football or something. I don't know. Hold the boombox over your head and you get the girl. Maybe run through the airport and convince her. Life sucks. Anyway, where were we? What were we talking about? Oh, Jesus. It's a great music. Yeah, the Henry Ford Museum. Yeah. Throwing rotten veggies at you. Coming from chat. Got a noise moment. Didn't take the shot. Oh no! I leave the safety. This is safe here in the tasting room or in the office. This is officially the pandemic studio of the Old Humble Distilling Company. This is where we did all of our pandemic stuff. Now we have a proper office and proper distillery. But yeah, I leave this. This is the safe space for shit to be. Yeah, without question. All right, moving forward. How far behind are we? Sunflowers has joined the party. Cheers, Sunflowers. It is 10:58 when you join. I am 29 minutes behind in chat. Cool. Welcome to the party, Sunflowers. Glad to have you. It's not everyone's cuppa. Kind of put a pot of coffee on and pull an all-nighter. Oh, JL, you got a JLM, you've got a job fair in the morning. You don't want to pull an all-nighter. You want to be on your best. You want to be on your best. Well rested, showered, shaved, everything pressed and cleaned, and just go in there, do your shit, and then have your sweatpants in the car. Just go back to the car, put on your sweatpants, and then chill out. Or better still, just show up to the fucking job fair in your sweatpants and your dirty t-shirt, unshaven, hungover as fuck, glasses on, hat on, pulled down low so that the light isn't affecting your vision. And go up there and go, I want to do a thing. What do you got? And yeah, just like show them your worst. Absolutely. Because if they'll take you at your worst, they'll take you at your best. No doubt. Also, I've only had like 4 successful job searches in my life, so probably don't take job search advice from me. Workshops, the Industrial Revolution. Nah, I wouldn't be here without the You'd be here without the Industrial Revolution, but you probably wouldn't be on a computer. You'd probably be working in the field. You live a short, fierce life. You'd be dead by the age of 40. That's how it was pre-industrial revolution. That's how we did. That's how we rolled as a people. Yeah, I'm on TikTok too. I don't do a lot of whiskey stuff on TikTok because the whiskey stuff doesn't get a lot of engagement on TikTok. I do a little. I do more whiskey stuff on YouTube, and I still don't do a lot of whiskey stuff on YouTube because like the last whiskey video that I did, like pure whiskey video, got like 200 views. It's just not a high engagement type of a my lip itches. Not a high engagement audience. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, we do informal stuff, informational stuff, but it's mostly the entertainment shit that uh, gets the most engagement. But that's the whole point. That's the whole goal. You know, I make whiskey. I have a YouTube channel. That's the order of operations. I am a whiskey maker with a YouTube channel. We make whiskey. We have whiskey. We get awards for our whiskey. We do whiskey. That's what we do. We have a whiskey mini fest coming up on the May 20th. If you're in the Houston area, come and join us. But everything surrounding our whiskey is having fun. Have fun. It's a lifestyle. It's a relaxing. It's just, come out and have fun. That's what we do. We do music. We do comedy. We do, build out. We're growing a business. We're doing all this stuff. It's a community. Come out and join us. We're not all about whiskey. We don't, I have hobbies. I have other stuff outside of my distillery. Come and join us. We do stuff like this. The topic tonight. I think about philosophy. I think about history. I think about science. We do science shows. We do philosophy shows. We do all kinds of stuff. So come out and join us all night long, all day, all night. Come out and join us. All right, moving on. I see something in the Drace protest because it's banned soon. I don't think TikTok's ever going to get banned. It might be banned. I don't know. Um, that's a good topic to be had. Like, if the U.S. government had a social media app, we would shit our pants over it, right? Like if there was a YouTube that was owned by the federal government, we would shit our. We'd be like, I'm not using the fucking the USA Patriot Act video service app. I'm not gonna fucking do that. We wouldn't do that. We absolutely wouldn't do that. But China does it, and we're like, look at my fucking dance. I can fucking do the dance. So it's like I wouldn't be wholly opposed to it. Like there are certain foreign companies that aren't allowed to own critical infrastructure. But I think it's a lively discussion to be had about whether or not TikTok is critical infrastructure. Like, is it that big of a deal? Are we going to acknowledge that social media is that big of a deal, that it's critical infrastructure? So then we have to like regulate who's allowed to own social media? Like, should they be required to be publicly owned companies? And at what threshold does a social media network have to be a publicly owned company? At what threshold do you determine something to be a social media network? Is Mastodon a social media network? Does it have to be publicly owned? I mean, is my Discord, if I had a Discord channel, would that be considered a publicly owned social media network? My email newsletters that I send out to my newsletter mailing list, that's a social network. I contact y'all contact me, y'all can contact each other theoretically. Uh, does that count? Does that have to be publicly disclosed? I mean, at what point does it's a sticky philosophical question? Like, at what point does what point does a social media network become critical infrastructure that we can then determine that because like that we can then determine who's allowed to own it because we're not if you're a Venezuelan oligarch, you can't own a significant portion of the slips at a major port in the United States. Port infrastructure is off limits to you if you're a Russian oligarch. Um, you can't you can't own certain land infrastructure if you're from certain countries. There's certain things that you're just not allowed to do if you're on a registered list of people or from a zone that is you're not allowed to own, right? And that's a fact. That's how things work. You can't own critical infrastructure if you're a member of the Chinese government, or if you're a member of the Russian government, or if you're a member of certain other countries like Costa Rica, maybe, or Cuba, or things like that. You can't have assets in the United States. Period. So, at what point does social media become critical infrastructure? At what size? What what label? Like when does it become that big of a deal? I don't know. That's beyond me. That's a good philosophical discussion to be had at some point, but not tonight. Anyway. Brandon Trueblood says he's heading to Ike's to do some blacksmithing. Oh, that'd be fucking cool. Blacksmithing's fun. I dabbled in it a little bit. I had a forge in my backyard for a little while. It's a fucking cool skill and hobby. If you can make money off that shit, that's even better. I mean that is one of the coolest things. The ability to be able to do that is just fucking awesome. Absolutely fucking awesome. But the old days, Thunderdome. Somebody fart. Oh, look there. John Longshanks is here. The lurking master. Um, Garden gnome joke, especially a thunder gnome or something. John just sits there and fucking lurks in the background. He'll be back around. I've talked to him several times on emails. He'll be back around sometime, I'm sure. He'll say something clever at some point in the next 30, 45 minutes, I'm no doubt. What time is it? Yeah. So we'll see. What's next? Where are we at? Corey Lee says fire. It'd be great. There's a mechanic that calls himself Car Wizard. Be a video production with. I am looking forward. When I get the I have a couple of projects I'm working on at the distillery. When I get the bathroom done and continue to build a tasting room, I'm looking forward to getting a proper green screen and then doing more stuff from the bar at the distillery and less stuff from the pandemic studios here at home. So, large guts because digesting raw food is more difficult. Yeah, exactly. The amount of energy that our body uses to metabolize food and digest food is small compared to the amount of energy our body uses to think. Like the brain consumes a tremendous amount of energy. Excuse me. And that we can efficiently metabolize food helps us out tremendously. And part of that metabolization is cooking, boiling, our salivation, and all the other stuff that we do. But cooking is the first step in metabolizing the food because we break down the or break down the sinews, break down the tissues, and soften up that food by application of fire. So then our body doesn't have to spend that energy on. So fire, the energy that comes from combusting fuel begins the digestive process, and that energy is energy that we don't have to use. We don't have to use that energy, and then those proteins and nutrients go into our body, and we don't have to use the energy to metabolize those proteins in the same way that we would if that food was raw. Fire is a huge innovation, absolutely huge, but the patent is even huger. You can't distill without fire. Well, you can't distill without heat, and you can definitely distill without open flame. You can use electricity to boil water and send steam through your steam jackets on your stills, and then that steam will boil the water and give you liquor. Steam runs my stills, not fire. I don't have any open flames in my distillery. True story. Bag of taters. Taters, by the way, that's another source of great food, great nutrients. Nutrients, calories, starches, sugars, all kinds of stuff happens inside of potatoes. But the nutrient value of potato is higher if you cook it than it is when you don't. So there you go. What's up? Well, I'm up. It's almost midnight and I'm still up, which is a big fucking deal because I'm not usually up this late. To the person, think your beard. No, no, no. She thought it was real. She just loved the beard. She just loved the textile, the textile feel, the touch, the nature of it. She just wanted to, and she sat there. It's happened one other time. One other time, I was at a bar. This woman came up to me and she said, "Can I touch your beard?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." I was in the middle of the conversation. She's like, "Can I touch your beard?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, okay. That's weird, but fine." And she just said she was on Molly or X or something. And she just sat there and she was just like rubbing it with her fingers. And that was weird. She was just like getting her fingers all up in it. And she was just like, "Oh, I love it so much." And I was just like, this is the weirdest, like truly, yeah, comb my beard out here real quick. It was truly the weirdest thing that I had ever experienced. But she was definitely on drugs. This other chick at the Whiskey Fest, she was not on drugs. She was drunk, but she was not on any other drugs that I could like discern from interacting with her. She just wanted to, she just, all she did, she just reached over and she just rubbed it on the side right here. She's like, "God, I love that feel." And then she just said, "Thank you," and walked off. That was it. That was it. It was a relatively normal interaction for somebody who had just previously uttered the words out of their face. "Can I touch your beard?" So, there was that. The small stack taters microwave. Oh, Jesus Christ. That's a big fucking snack. I guess it depends on the size of the taters. If you're going with the red taters, the red potatoes, that's a good snack. Good night, Mr. Great Shot. Enjoy yourself. Take care of yourself. As always. Oven at 400, 40 minutes. Oil if you have it. Yeah. Some twice baked taters. Sweet Dreams Great Shot. Don't you forget about those thumbs up. Thank you, Mr. Great Shot. I appreciate that. I should remember to do that YouTuber stuff too. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Do all the shit. Don't be a dumbass. Let's see. 27 times 23 is divided by 60. We're at 10 hours of watch time right now, by my estimation. So I am halfway to what I hoped for to be my goal. I'm not going to make my goal. I'm not going to get to, that Ann Arbor. Yeah, that was the place I was talking about in Michigan. How far behind chat am I? It is, Jesus Christ, I'm still 30 minutes behind. Chris Part, Cheaper Getting Chips, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Yes, I meant Ann Arbor, Michigan. Thank you. Ypsilanti. Ypsilanti is actually where my sister lived. She lived in Ypsilanti, and we visited Ann Arbor. That was how it went. She lived in Ypsilanti. I visited Ann Arbor. both of those little towns are just absolutely gorgeous little towns. Absolutely gorgeous little towns. Her husband at the time worked at East Michigan University, EMU. Golden Eagles. East Michigan University Golden Eagles. He was a strength coach for their football team. Some samples poured for you beginning. Still Austin pick and send them to you soon. Yeah, that's Still Austin pick from 21090. That's a big deal for them. That's good. Good for their channel. Proud of those guys. That was a big. That's a big get. And that's a full size barrel too. So that's very cool. Drove from O&D of Canada on the other end. Little guy, family field trips. Landing is the hard part. Gone are the good old days of being in bed of truck, flying down the highway at 60 miles trying to dodge the hailstones. Jesus Christ. That sounds like a fucking hellscape. I'm a fly. I can pilot. That was a great movie. It was a dumb movie. Don't get me wrong. It was a dumb movie, but it was a well done dumb movie. It was a well done dumb movie. All the cliches, all the sci-fi cliches, they packed them all into the movie. They had the stripper wife, hero husband, goofy sidekick, alien invasion, virus kills the aliens, right? But it wasn't like the virus killed the aliens. It was the virus killed the ships. The alien invasion was killed by the virus because they uploaded a virus into the alien motherboard. Spoiler alert, by the way, for this 30-year-old movie. They had the patriotic speech, inspiring the world, and even the president of the United States does this little speech, but they come up with a solution on how to coordinate the counterattack, and the French were like, "It's about time." Like the whole world was waiting for the United States to do this. It was so packed full of every sci-fi alien movie cliche you could think of. Such a dumb movie, but it was so well done. So well done. So well done. Great movie. This may or may not be his life story. I'm not sure what y'all are talking about. I miss. Oh! What's the worst that could happen rant that I just went on. I remember. Okay, I don't fucking remember half the shit that I say on this show. But apparently at 10:25 is when I was talking about what's the worst that could happen. Okay, I remember. I got bills. I gotta pay. Yeah, that's a great song. Roll your butt. Oh, Jesus Christ. Y'all make me laugh. I appreciate y'all. I really do. I appreciate y'all hanging out this long. I appreciate y'all giving me 24 minutes of average watch time per viewer. I appreciate that tremendously. I absolutely do. And I'm going to reward that. I'm going to reward that with a forum show where I give away a bottle of whiskey. And what we'll probably do is do a thing where it's like, uh, we'll do a super chat thing, an effort to raise money for my new computer. We'll do a super chat type of thing where you put in $2 to the Cash App, you get your name on the wheel. You get your name on the wheel for every $2. You get your name on the wheel. We get at least $50 on the wheel, and then we'll spin the wheel. And then for every time we get $50 on the wheel, we'll spin the wheel. We'll do it again and again and again and again and again, all night long. So, yeah. But I absolutely do. I appreciate you guys. 100%. We'll do a viewer appreciation night real soon. We've passed 2,000. We're due for a viewer appreciation night. That's coming. That's coming in the very near future. I love you guys. Y'all are the best. It's a great community, and you know, I mean, that's why I keep coming back every week to do this shit. I really do. So anyway, y'all make me laugh. I'm glad I get to make y'all laugh. Thank you. I'll do stables. My hands, the woman kept telling me to grab. What about streaming services? That's a good question. And to be fair, Corey, uh, social media networks are not a public town square. They are private businesses that are owned and moderated, community standards. They are not a town square. What Elon Musk says Twitter is not what Twitter is. Twitter is not a town square. It is not a town square where anybody can put up anything and you can see what anybody puts up. It is a curated stream fed to you based on what the algorithm thinks you want to see. So you're not getting a balanced viewpoint of the world when you look at social media networks. You're getting a curated stream of posts that are literally being fed to you. Your friend network, your following network, your followers network is informing the algorithm what to feed to you. Because you're not just getting people that you follow, you're getting people you follow and people that the algorithm thinks that you want to feed, that you want to follow, that you want to see. So you're getting multiple streams of data coming at you, and it's not like the bulletin board at the Starbucks where anybody can post anything, and you can go to the bulletin board and see what the community is posting. This is as if Starbucks was handing out flyers that people brought to Starbucks, and people said, "Here's my information," and Starbucks said, "Okay," and they compiled the information on the flyer, and they gave you a flyer to you based on what they think you based based on what they think you want to see on that flyer. That's what you're getting on these social media networks. You're not getting just a stream of conscious thought. You're getting a finely curated stream of thought that the algorithm thinks you want to get in an effort for you to continue to use that social media network. So it's either a stream of things that, well, part of it is, some of it makes you happy, some of it makes you mad, and it all depends on what drives engagement. It is not an open town square. It's not a public forum. I gotta go hear what this noise is. I gotta go check this out. Sit tight. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. Sorry. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. It was those fucking cats again fighting. But hey, while I was out, I decided to get another piece of ice. So the show goes on. Bum, 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 bum. All right, sorry about that. Sorry about that little delay. Um, but I also forgot that I had water in my glass. So I just made a mess. But not nearly as bad as what used to happen at my office when I worked at the bank, when I would occasionally spill coffee on my. Let's see, where am I? That's Sweet Dreams Great Shot. Find out where I was. GLM, Tater Dom. There we are. Okay, that's where I was. But yeah, occasionally in my former life, at the bank, I would spill coffee on my computer keyboard, which meant I had to get a new computer keyboard like every, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. But there you go. All right, let's move on. About streaming service. See, that's another thing. Streaming services. I don't think streaming services count as a social media network, but streaming services like TV stations were considered critical infrastructure. TV stations, radio stations, internet, broadband services, internet services, what we call them now, Wi-Fi. Well, I mean, they're not. We call them Wi-Fi, but they're basically cellular services. Those are considered critical infrastructure. But the more people that cut the cable and leave their broadcast networks and leave cable and move over to streaming services are becoming effectively the national broadcast system. But it's not like the feds can hijack Amazon Prime or Netflix and do their emergency broadcast system the way they used to do over the broadcast networks. So, or maybe they can't. I don't know. But that used to be, you couldn't be a foreign national and own a broadcast network until they changed the laws and allowed this one particular old Australian dude to own a broadcast network. Rupert Murdoch was the first foreign national to own a broadcast network in the United States of America. That's how big a deal it is. You couldn't be a foreign national and own and be the primary owner of a broadcast network in the United States of America until I think it was the late 80s, early 90s when Fox News became a thing. You couldn't own newspapers. You couldn't be a foreign national and own a newspaper in the United States until God, it had to have been the 90s when that was changed. Radio stations, you weren't allowed to own a radio station in the United States if you were a foreign national. I mean, there were a whole lot of things that foreign nationals of any stripe, French, Mexican, Italian, English, you could not own critical infrastructure in the United States. And I don't know if streaming networks rise to that level, but increasingly, the more people that are using streaming networks as their principal source of entertainment, I'm thinking that's got to be the case. That's got to eventually become the case. When more people are watching Netflix than NBC, it's got to be the case where a streaming network is a critical infrastructure. You got to see. Many free ones. Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably use a Restream when I do my fan appreciation, viewer appreciation. But yeah, But even StreamYards is owned by a private company. YouTube is owned by a private company, and Discord is owned by a private company. Even the ones that are a free service are owned by private companies. They're all owned by private companies, and they all feed you an algorithm of information because you are the product. Your engagement is the product that they sell to advertisers that advertise on their system. I mean, when I start up my YouTube advertising again, which won't be long because in June we're going to have this nationwide market for our whiskeys. In June, when I start my YouTube advertising, it's going to be sliced and diced. There's going to be particular channels that I advertise on. There's going to be themes. There's going to be keywords that I'm looking for. Not just the channels, the creators who are the product that I am buying, but also their audiences. The people who like these whiskey channels, you're going to get advertised my whiskey. I'm going to target you people. So when you go to some monetized channel and the advertisement comes up, you're going to have a higher likelihood that you're going to get one of my advertisements. I mean, y'all are my product. When I'm paying money to YouTube to advertise my product, I am paying I'm not just paying for ad time, I'm paying for eyeballs. Your eyeballs. That's the fucking eyeballs that I'm paying for. That's why these social networks exist. And their job is to keep you engaged. So their algorithm is keeping you engaged, so they feed you. They feed you little kibble to keep you engaged on the social network. And it's not that big of a deal if we know what's going on. If you're part of the game, if you know you're involved in the game, if you show up at a social experiment and you don't know there's a social experiment going on, well then you feel victimized when you find out. But if you show up and you know you're being sold to, the algorithm is catering to you, you're part of this ecosystem that's trying to put you in an echo chamber to hear the things that you want to hear and see the things you want to see, then it and you're a participant and you're a willing participant. If you're a willing participant, you can limit your involvement with that algorithm. I mean, shit, I do that with Twitter all the time. I'm like in for like 15 minutes and I'm like, nah, this is grating. I can't do this anymore. And I nope out. I put out my content. I consume a little bit and I'm done. I can't consume any more of this shit. Same thing with Facebook. I don't consume nearly as much Facebook as I used to. Because after 2016, 2017, when it became clear what Facebook was doing and the mechanics of the social networks was more obvious, I was like, nah, I can't do this. The toxicity of Facebook, the toxicity of Instagram, nah, I can't do that anymore. I'll produce my content and I'm out. I can't do that shit anymore. I mean, YouTube is less toxic, because it's less comment based, but you can still dig yourself into a little echo chamber. But for YouTube's purposes, it's still, I mean, they still feed you stuff. I mean, you can go down all kinds of rabbit holes. You missearch and look up something like what is it, flat Earth or ancient civilizations or uh, young Earth theory or anything like that. Boy, you are gonna go down. It used to be the 9/11 truther shit, Sandy Hook red flag, all kinds of shit. You can get yourself down all kinds of dumbassery, rabbit hole bullshit. I mean, they'll do it. They say, oh, you're interested in those? Here, have some kibble, feed it. And they fucking just drip it in your mouth, and you're just like, oh, la 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 la. You gotta break it. You have to actively search for things you want to see. You can't just take the stuff that they feed you. YouTube's just as bad as all the others. Well, I take that back. YouTube's not as bad as all the others, but it's just as actively trying to engage you in their social network as everybody else. YouTube is more like a streaming service than Facebook is, but YouTube is still absolutely a social media network. And you've got to, they're selling advertisements and they're trying to keep you engaged. Sorry, YouTube. I know the game. You know the game. We all know the game. Don't be mad. Don't hate the players. Hate the game. Anyway. You can only beer for a month and barbecue and beer. Those are like two major food groups here in Texas. I want my dead animal every day. 10 folks that got Old Humble over 2K subs. Thank you. We still need one more tonight. We need one more sub tonight to get us up to 2020. I'll hang on. Let me confirm that. 20. Where are we at? We are currently at 2019. So there is that. I am currently at 2019 subs. It is bugs. You're welcome. There, oh, looky there. John Longshank said something clever. You fucking asshole. Did he say it within the allotted time? No, he didn't. He did not say it within the allotted time. Fucking John. Earth is not flat, it's cubed. Shut up, Ting Ting. The Earth is round. It's a globular shape. I mean, see, that's the thing, though, Corey. It feels like a public forum because you can just go out into social media and say, "I like red pants." Ding, bling, 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 and bang your fucking bell and just scream whatever you want to the ether. But then, if you look at the engagement for that post, like nobody sees it. But if you post, Michelle Obama's a transvestite, bang, 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 she's really a man. Well, then 80 billion people see it because Twitter feeds that to people. You see, your post doesn't just go to all your people. If you have 125 followers or whatever, like all 125 followers aren't going to see your post. But if you post something that the algorithm says people want to see, then your post goes to and it goes out. It connects up and it goes out. The algorithm says, "Oh, we'll pick up that one," and it shoots it out into the and it's the same thing that NBC does. It's the same thing that CBS does. They find the stories. They're like, "Oh, people want to see these stories," because they want to do the same thing. What does CBS do? They sell advertising in their commercial blocks. Right? They sell advertising in their commercial blocks. So they want to engage you. They want to have you watch their news for the full 22 minutes of news from 10:30 to 11 o'clock. They want you to watch it, or 10 o'clock to 10:30. They want you to watch their news because they're selling those advertisements at the A block, B block, C block, and D block. They're selling all those advertisements. So they want to keep you engaged. So what are they going to do? They're going to feed you the news stories that are the guy gets shot, the guy got robbed, everything's dangerous. Here's your weather, here's your traffic, here's your sports, here's your crime stories, here's your more crime stories. Here's the thing about the pretty white baby who was kidnapped, and the pretty white girl who was raped and molested, and then kidnapped and raped and molested again. Here's your stories that will enrage you and keep you attached. So then you think that downtown is riddled with crime all the time, when the reality is your odds of getting raped, beaten, mugged, thieved, murdered in downtown is really, 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 really low. Especially in big cities like New York, Houston, Austin, Chicago, LA, San Francisco. But they're going to try and sell that advertisement, and they want to keep you engaged. So they sell you the scary shit because they want to keep you scared. Right? Right. Same thing. It's the same fucking thing that Twitter does. The same thing that Instagram does. The same thing that Facebook does. Instagram does it differently. Instagram's not going to do it with, oh my God, downtown scary. Instagram and TikTok do it with, here's some titties. She's dancing, bouncy, bouncy. Watch this. Here's an advertisement. That's how Instagram and Twitter, TikTok does it. Twitter and Facebook do it differently. Twitter says, everything's terrible. Here's some bad stuff. Make you upset. Make madness. Say bad things in comments. Retweet the comment. Say bad stuff. Angry. Oh, here's some good stuff. Here's some kibble. Here's some happy. But also angry. And Facebook does it the same way. There's a reason that your Aunt Gertrude shows up in your fucking timeline all the time. Because you angry comment back to Aunt Gertrude, why are you so fucking stupid? And then it goes back and forth for like 19 tweets. I'm not stupid. Yeah, you are, you fucking bitch. You quit being an asshole. You're the worst nephew. I'm not the worst fucking nephew. You're the dumbest fucking aunt. No. 19 fucking engagements. You were engaged with Facebook for an hour and a half arguing with your Aunt Gertrude, who you haven't seen since your cousin Sylvia got married in 2006. But you're arguing with Aunt Gertrude. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you arguing with Aunt Gertrude? She sends you a Christmas card every year, but you haven't talked to her in 5 years. Hell, you haven't talked to her in 5 years. You haven't seen her since 2006. Facebook knows how to sell advertising. That's your social media now. That's your social media. It's not just the internet. It's not a public. It feels like a public forum. Because you could go out there and you'd be all like, I have a rash. Like, what should I do? And you'll get a couple of comments of people like, that's too much fucking information, dude. Or you're like, maybe call your doctor. Or WebMD, let me Google that for you. You know, whatever. By the way, if y'all haven't done let me Google that for you, let me post a link here. Let me Google that for you.com. One of the best websites on the entire fucking internet. Why is lmgtfy.com one of the best? Glad you asked. Let me tell you. Because when somebody goes into Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and they're like, I would like to know how to get blah, blah, blah. Where can I do that? And you'd be like, that's a fucking Googleable response. And then you go to lmgtfy.com and he pops up the screen and it looks like a Google search screen and you type it in there. Tap it. Where can I get my dog vaccinated for the herpes? And then you click on copy that link. And then you copy that link and you go back over to the fucking moron who wants to know how to vaccinate his dog for herpes because apparently they're fucking their dog. And you tap that in there, and when they click on it, it says, hey, instead of having Google, it says, let me Google that for you. And then it types it into the search bar. How do I prevent my dog from getting herpes or whatever? And then the little cursor goes over and says search, and then it brings up the search for them. It is the best passive-aggressive fuck you that you could possibly give these stupid idiot keyboard warriors. Like, oh my God, I'm having heart palpitations. What do I do? Like, maybe call the fucking doctor and not go to fucking Facebook, you dumb idiot. What is wrong with you people? Jesus. Let me Google that for you. It's one of the best innovations ever. Not the best. The best idea ever is still the patent. But one of the best ever, probably the best since the steam engine. Let me Google that for you. Oh, absolutely. Like, how long? Hey, Facebook, how long should I boil eggs? Why don't you fucking Google that, you moron? Anyway, what was I talking about? I don't even know where we got this from. 33 times 23.25 is divided by 60 is, we're at about 13 hours. I'm actually okay with shutting the stream down about now. But it is 12:14, so we'll go to 1 o'clock. 1 p.m. which means I got about 30 minutes of 30 more minutes of chatting, and then 15 minutes of shutting down the show. So hey, feel free to ask me questions, like whatever. Well, like, hey, old Humble guy, what's this mini whiskey fest we're doing? Oh, this whiskey mini fest. That's a great question. So what we're doing is we're having 3 bands: Jeff with a G doing magic and mysticism and sideshow stuff. I'm building a bathroom specifically for this event. It's a big damn deal. Big damn deal. And I'm fairly comfortable with plumbing, but there's some technical shit. There's technical shit with the plumbing, especially in commercial buildings, like valves, backflow vents, and shit like that has to be installed that I'm not very familiar with. I can install the fixtures. That I can do. Toilet, sink, I got that. But I think I'm going to go ahead and have a plumber come and plumb it. Just to make sure it's done right. So that I don't have to, second guess myself and question whether or not it's actually well done or not well done. But then when they come in, I'll frame it out. They'll come in, do the fixtures, and then I'll come in and do the plumbing. Then I put in the fixtures, put in the wall, put in the fixtures, be done. I should have this fucking thing set up by the 20th. And here's the thing that's really important. Like, this is a lesson. Like, there's technical shit that you should do and technical shit that you shouldn't do. And the shit you shouldn't do is the stuff you don't really feel you feel comfortable with, but not too comfortable. Like that stuff should be left to professionals. Like there's the peripheral stuff, and good professionals will be like good professionals, really good professionals. They'll be like, we'll throw in the peripheral stuff for free or for cheap. We'll do that at cost. So like it costs you the cost of a toilet, the cost of a sink. They'll fucking install that themselves. But you can do that. You can put in a sink. You can save a little bit. I mean, they're going to charge you $100, $200, whatever. You can save a couple $100 by doing that yourself. You need to be competent. You don't need to be good. In fact, you don't even need to be competent. I take that back. You don't even need to be competent. You just need to be confident enough to try it. Confident enough to be willing to fail. That's all it takes. You don't have to be perfect. In anything you do, you don't have to be perfect. Like our dear president says, don't compare me to the almighty, compare me to the alternative. If the alternative is not doing it versus doing it poorly, well fucking do it poorly. If it's doing it poorly versus doing it expertly, well, obviously you'd want to do expertly, but if the alternative, if you can't achieve expertly, but you can achieve successful, like you did it, it's done, it's plugged in, everything works, fucking do that. It's better to have tried and failed than to have not even tried. You miss every ball you don't swing at, right? You miss every shot you don't take. At least take the shot. At least take the fucking shot. I mean, Jesus Christ. The number of distilleries I've run equals 1. Mine. That's it. Most people in their entire adult lives, they have 3, 4, 5 tops successful job searches. Most people have at most 1 successful relationship. If you define successful relationship as a relationship that lasts to death do we part, right? But if you modify that definition of successful relationship, I mean, shit, a 5-year relationship, a 10-year relationship could be perfectly successful. You just grew apart. It kind of fell apart. It was fine. If it was 5 years of toxicity, no, that's a terrible relationship. Don't count that as good. But you can have a good thing going for 15 years, good thing going for 20 years, good thing going for 25 years. And then you just look at each other one day and go, you know, we're just being together out of convenience. And then you choose to, you know, still be good friends, but, you know, follow your life. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't buy into this bullshit narrative that, you know, great grandma and great grandpa were better at relationships because they died together after 40 years. Great grandma couldn't vote. Great grandma couldn't have a checking account. She couldn't have credit. She couldn't buy a house. She couldn't own property. She was not a person. Don't buy into this shit. That was not a fucking ideal relationship. She couldn't leave. Great grandpa might have beat the piss out of her all the time. An abusive, toxic bastard. Like, that was true love. No, it wasn't true love. She wasn't devoted to him. She was a fucking hostage. Let's not Pollyanna history. Let's be realistic about this shit. Good quality relationships. Now, you've had friends that you've been friends with for 5 years and y'all just kind of grew apart. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that I grew up with in elementary school, middle school, high school. We had a good solid 20-year run. They just kind of grew apart. They moved to another city. I moved to another city. We just kind of, went on to our other things. Yeah, you grow apart. That's fine. You can do that inside the same house. You can do that if you share DNA. And I don't mean like share DNA like you put your DNA in her. That's gross. I mean like share DNA like you had, parents that were, your parents. You can grow apart. That's, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Hell, 2 years. But if it's 2 years of toxicity and abuse, that's not a successful relationship. That's a successful departure. But if it was 2 good years, 3 good years, 5 good years, savor the success, savor the win. You can run a business for 10 years and then decide to close the doors. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Not every business gets to be GM or Chrysler or the Cubs or whatever and run for 75 or 85 or 90, 100, 200 years. Not every business gets to do that. Not every relationship gets to do that. Not every friendship gets to do that. You don't have to judge yourself against the perfect. You only have to judge yourself against you yesterday. That's it. So don't beat yourself up. Be good people. Be good people. Be better people than you were yesterday. And if you fail to do that, well, tomorrow's a new day. You'd be a better person than you were yesterday. And that guy was a failure because he failed to be better than the person who was better than before. Every day's a new challenge. Every day's a new struggle. Everybody's going through something. Be kind, be courteous, love each other. But don't fucking love fascists because they're fucking terrible. Fascists are the worst goddamn people on the planet. Hate them. Hate fascists. But love each other all the same. You have my permission to hate fascists. And if they say, why are you hating me? You'd be all like, the Old Humble guy said it was okay. And they're like, what's Old Humble? Like, Old Humble is a distillery in Humble, Texas. And they make delicious whiskey. Would you like to have some whiskey with me, you fucking fascist? And they'll be like, well, I'd rather have whiskey with you than be fucking hated. And then you're like, okay. And then y'all sit down and have whiskey. And you'd be like, look, you fucking piece of shit. Quit being a piece of shit. Like, you don't want to be called a fascist, don't be a fascist. And then, like, everybody can have a drink and be awesome with each other. Because that's what whiskey's all about, being awesome with each other. And you feed the fascists some whiskey, and the fascists like, oh, well, I don't want to be a fascist anymore because this whiskey's great, and this whiskey's bad for fascists. And they're like, yeah, it's bad for fascists. Quit being a fascist. And you can have more whiskey. And they're like, oh, quit being a fascist. And you're like, cool. And that's how you save the world. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Anyway. Anyway. 12:30. All right. So I'm looking at 25 minutes for 33 people. 33 times 25 divided by 60. That is 13.75 minutes or hours. I'd like to get to 20, but I do not have the energy. Just when inviting Antifa, you may get your business smashed and burnt. Well, you see, Antifa is anti-fascist. So, I mean, I hate to break this to you, but like the U.S. military was the original Antifa. I mean, I guess the French military was the original. The Polish military was probably the Czech military is probably the original Antifa. Who was the original Antifa? It was Czechoslovakia. They were invaded first, if I'm not mistaken. It was probably Germany that was the original Antifa, actually. Because like all of Germany wasn't like, yeah, let's go be fascist. They were like, there was at least a portion of Germany that was like, no, this is a bad idea. And then like that's why there had to be a coup. You know, the whole Reichstag fire thing. I mean, I don't want Antifa like demonstrating in my distillery. That's not good for business. That's not good for business. Um, what about Ukraine? Plenty of Nancy's there. See, here's a really cool thing about Ukraine. They are literally defending themselves against an authoritarian invading government uh, uh, without the Second Amendment. There's no Second Amendment in Ukraine. There's no right to bear arms in Ukraine. They're defending themselves against a tyrannical invading force without the Second Amendment. Go figure. Plenty of Nancy's there. That's an interesting way to describe a mobilized. And see, that's the difference between a mobilized civilian population and a armed civilian population. Mobilized can fucking fight a whole army. Armed? I don't know what they do. I'm not convinced. I'm willing to be convinced, but I'm not convinced. But we're in the last 30 minutes. We're not going to get into a fucking gun debate or a Ukraine debate or Antifa debate. I mean, I'm on record. In the past, I've said it before. Economic warfare is legitimate warfare. Economic protest is legitimate protest. I've said it in the past, and I'll say it again. Like when Ferguson, when they were burning down their neighborhood in Ferguson, it's like the donut shop isn't your enemy. The dry cleaner isn't your enemy. They're not the ones fucking you. Like, if you're pissed off about the authoritarian government and the cops, fucking go burn down the police station and burn down the fucking city hall and the mayor's office. Don't sit there and burn down the laundromat, the quickie mart, the video rental store, or the other. They didn't do anything. But in the same way that the Boston Tea Party was a thing, economic disruption, you fight. They don't feel it if you confine your protest to a grassy field that's outside of traffic lanes or whatever. They're not going to feel it. They don't give a shit. They're not even going to notice you did it. But if you do it on Main Street in the middle of town, if you and 20 of your buddies go on the freeway and you stop on the northbound and southbound sides of the freeway and you lock up traffic for 3 hours until the cops come and tow your cars away, oh, you'll get on the news, baby. You will get on the news. They will feel your frustration. They will hear about it. They will feel it. Do you just want your AR-15? I want you to have your AR-15. I absolutely do. I'm not sure I want to have everybody have an AR-15. Because we all know people who shouldn't have AR-15. We all know people. And with this massacre we had in Cleveland, there were a whole lot of homosexuals who were being all like, this illegal alien had a fucking gun, and he fucking shot these people. And you're like, oh, so, you don't think illegal aliens should have guns then, huh? And they're like, yeah, they're fucking criminals. And you're like, okay, so you're okay with saying some people shouldn't have guns. Okay, we agree. Some people shouldn't have guns. and then they're and then at that point they're like, oh no, I don't mean to. No, it should not be abridged. Like, yeah, but you just said like illegal aliens. What about like toddlers, like 3-year-olds? Should they have guns? Maybe blind people? Maybe mentally deranged people who think that the sky is made of soup? Maybe like there's definitely some people, right? Like there's like that guy, like Mitch, who lives over there across the street, who's like a fucking lunatic. Like, should he? Like that I mean that dude goes out on Saturdays and shoots at the fucking mushrooms that grow up in his yard. Should he have guns? Is that a good idea? You feel safe around that guy? You want him protected on your bed? Is he a smart guy? I don't know, man. Um, ex-boyfriends are sus in general. Ting ting. I would not trust an ex-boyfriend, period. There's a reason I don't ask my ex-girlfriends for advice. They are generally known as terrible people. Terrible people. I am feeling the whiskey. I need to go to bed. What time is it? 12:30? Where are we at on engagement? 26 times 33. That is 14 hours. 26 times 33. 856 divided by 60. 14 and a half hours. It's a good number. All right, kids. At this point, fine line between red line and legal. Yeah, it is. It is. It is a fine line. There's a vast gray area because, the vast majority of good guys the vast majority of criminals were law-abiding citizens until they stopped being law-abiding, until they decided to not, until they said, you know what, fuck it. The vast majority of criminals woke up one morning as a law-abiding citizen and went to bed as a criminal. Vast majority. The vast majority. Like, most criminals weren't born criminals. They were law-abiding citizens. And it's a gray line. It's a thin line, a gray line. It's hard to identify where it goes. But as a civilization, we have to say this is where we draw it. There's going to be some people that fall on the wrong side. There's going to be people that fall on the right side. But sometimes good people make mistakes. Red light cameras show that. Sometimes good people run stoplights. That doesn't make you a bad person. It just means you ran a stoplight. Fucking pay your fine and move on with life. That's it. That's it. That's it. Like there's a significant majority of people who, if we passed some kind of regulation for firearms, wouldn't be affected. The vast majority of people would not be affected. And for those of us who are responsible gun owners, who know people who shouldn't have guns, who have guns, like, we don't want those people having guns. Like, we know they're a danger to themselves and others. They're uncivil and they're dangerous gun owners. We know they're a bad day away from shooting someone. They're accident, even if it's a fucking accident. They're the ones who are out there cleaning their fucking guns when they're loaded. We know those people. But that's a discussion for another day. I mean, what are we going to do? I'm going to fucking call Ted Cruz again tomorrow and be all like, Ted Cruz, do you think there's too many fucking doors in an office building in Georgia? Fucking moron. How many doors is the right amount of doors? Dick. I hate Ted Cruz. He's a piece of shit. Anyway, it's almost 1 o'clock. It's time for me to go to bed, man. It really is. 34 views, 25 and a half minutes. We're looking at 15 hours. It's good. It's a good time to wrap up. I could go. Let's see here. Should I? Okay, I'm going to do a thing. I'm going to try something real quick. 25 and a half. 25. Oops. 25.5 times. I watched A League of Their Own today. Divided by, oops, 60. 15 hours. We're at 14:45. League of Their Own is a great movie. I love baseball movies. I love baseball. Baseball is America's fucking pastime. It's a beautiful sport. Here's what I love about baseball. Baseball is it's a highly organized sport. There's very little chaos in baseball. Not like football. Football, there's chaos. There's a lot that can go right, a lot that can go wrong. Soccer is orderly chaos, just like football, orderly chaos. Baseball, there's no chaos in baseball. Baseball is orderly and normal. You have a guy throwing a ball to another guy. Pitcher to catcher, 1-2. You have a guy trying to hit that ball. Standing at the plate, trying to hit it. Orderly. You don't have 8 people swinging their bats. You don't have balls flying all over the field. It's one guy throwing a ball, one guy catching the ball, one guy trying to hit that ball. And when it goes into the field, when he does make contact and it goes into the field, there's one person that has the proper right to catch that ball. One person. And they call it. It's mine. Mine. They call it. It's mine. And everybody else acknowledges that and they back off. Orderly, not chaotic. And there comes occasional times where there's 2 people that have a beat on the ball. They're coming in. One of them calls off the other. That's mine. I got it. And they back off, right? There's fair territory. There's foul territory. There's bases where you're safe. Every person has a role to play. First, second, third, short, left, center, right. Everybody has a role to play. Baseball is the perfect sport. It is the perfect sport. It's beautiful. It's elegant. It is, everybody's doing their job. You're asked to do your job. When the ball comes to you, you're asked to do a little bit more. It is democratic. It is representative. And it is egalitarian. And it's independent because you can be the best shortstop in the league on a terrible team. You can be A-Rod on the Rangers, which was the thing that happened. You don't have to be the best ever. You just have to be the best on your team. You have to be the best in your position on your team. Baseball is a beautiful sport. God, I love baseball. And all of that because I watched A League of Their Own today. It's a good movie. Not great, good. Good movie. It's tough to make a great movie based on like events that actually happen because you're bound by reality and the mundane. But it was a good movie. Moneyball, also a great baseball movie. All right, that's my sign. I got to roll. All right, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages. I'm not going to do it. 26 times 34 divided by 60. What is that? 26 times 34 divided by 60 is Yeah, we're still sitting at 15. I can't go any longer. I'm done. 12:38. We're gonna wrap it up after an hour and 38 minutes. Love me. Wish you were me. I'm kidding. I'm not that arrogant. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining me for the show. I appreciate you engaging in chat. And I appreciate you hitting the like button. I'd really like it if one more person liked the channel. I'm just gonna fucking sit here and wait. I'll do that. I got my sunglasses on. I can fall asleep if I want to. 2020. That won't work. Hmm. Anyway, um, yeah, I was gonna sit here and just wait. So I drifted off thinking about what the fuck was I thinking about? Um, I was thinking about Bull Durham. That's what I was thinking about. I literally just like was thinking about Bull Durham. Um, all right, so we'll let you guys go to bed. It's time. It's time to wrap this shit up. It really is. Um, I mean, I could sit here and wait for the one more to get up to 220. 2020. Should I? I mean, should I really? Ugh. Should I? Refresh. What's it say? Bonk. No, still 2019. All right, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages, I am your friendly nighttime neighborhood sin merchant, the old humble guy himself. I make delicious whiskey, and I try to be entertaining, but sometimes I am more successful in that than others. I am exhausted. I feel my lips just like words slurring with the exhaustion. Um, we're at 2019 subscribers, and you can find us at 19103 Continental Plaza. On May 20th, we have our whiskey mini fest. You should come out and see it if you're within driving range or earshot of my voice. Come out and see the party. Come out and see the shop. Come out and have some fun. We'll open our doors at 3 o'clock. We open our doors at 3 o'clock. The music starts at 5 or 6, depending on when the musicians get ready. But yeah, we try to have a good time. We try to have a good time. But if I don't see you between now and then, I insist. Continue to be awesome to each other. You're some of the best damn people on the planet. You really are. And don't let anybody tell you different. Just because you got that weird fucking thing going on with your toe and your eyes a little bit lazy doesn't mean you're not a good person. You're good fucking people. Be awesome to each other. Be awesome to yourself. And may the road always rise to meet your feet. May you worry more about your shots than the oughts that you didn't do. May you have a happy, blissful, prosperous, and serene life. Cheers. And until next time, I am the old humble guy. You are not. Have a great night. Cheers.